In a moment that seized global attention and set social media ablaze, Queen Mary of Denmark emerged in a jaw-dropping crimson-red gown that lit up Aarhus City Hall on July 3, 2025. The occasion: Denmark's assumption of the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union, a deeply symbolic and politically charged event. But all eyes, cameras, and gasps of admiration turned first and foremost to the Australian-born Queen, whose presence transcended protocol and proved once again that diplomacy and glamour can indeed walk hand in hand. Alongside her was her husband, King Frederik X, 57, who radiated pride and poise, yet seemed quietly eclipsed by Mary's commanding elegance. Together, the royal couple presented a unified image of Denmark's modern monarchy, accessible, active, yet ever so powerful in soft diplomacy. But what elevated the event from ceremonial to historic was the unexpected presence of a wartime icon, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy of Ukraine. His surprise appearance alongside the Danish royals not only shifted the tone of the evening but also injected profound political gravity into the festivities. With Queen Mary's stunning fashion statement, King Frederik's diplomatic posture, and President Zelenskyy's emotional participation, the evening became a masterclass in symbolism, global unity, and the power of royal influence. What truly unfolded behind those gilded City Hall doors was more than a celebration. It was a complex, multi-layered showcase of Europe's challenges, hope, and renewed strength under Denmark's leadership. Let's take you deep into that historic night, where elegance collided with politics, where red silk whispered strength, and where Queen Mary proved she's not just a consort, but a symbol of modern Europe. As the sun dipped low behind the skyline of Aarhus, Queen Mary descended the marble steps of City Hall, greeted by thunderous applause and flashing cameras. Dressed in a body-skimming red gown designed by Danish fashion house Jesper Hovering, she instantly became the night's visual centerpiece. The dress, tailored with subtle power shoulders, a cinched waist, and a flowing train, shimmered with understated sequins, giving the Queen an aura of both authority and compassion. Observers from across the continent took to X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram to describe her look as a modern European Diana, the epitome of regal diplomacy, and a queen that commands without a word. Mary's choice of red wasn't arbitrary. In color psychology and international protocol, red symbolizes courage, energy, and leadership. This was a message. Denmark is not passively assuming a role, it is stepping into it boldly, unapologetically, and under Queen Mary's radiant gaze. Her hair, elegantly swept into a loose chignon, was adorned with a minimalistic diamond pin, a nod to simplicity and her down-to-earth origins. The only accessory that spoke louder than the dress was her demeanor, gracious, poised, and deeply engaged with every dignitary she met. Though Queen Mary dominated the aesthetic stage, King Frederik was far from invisible. His role as monarch required a balance of presence without grandeur, engagement without overshadowing the political tone of the night. Dressed in a sharply tailored midnight navy tuxedo, the king moved with dignified ease among EU delegates, diplomats, and state representatives. But there was something deeper in his eyes, a reflective glint, perhaps acknowledging the weight Denmark now bears as leader of the EU Council at one of Europe's most unstable crossroads. With war still raging in Ukraine and migration, climate, and economic crises rippling across the continent, Frederik's silence spoke volumes. He was listening, reading the room, and ensuring his presence was steady, supportive, and utterly regal. Multiple royal commentators noted that the king deferred frequently to Queen Mary throughout the night, allowing her to engage directly with many female EU officials and cultural representatives. It was a dynamic modern take on royal representation, one where monarchy doesn't dictate, but collaborates. Just as the crowd began to settle into what seemed like a ceremonial reception, the announcement was made: Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy would address the assembly. Gasps were audible. His presence was not on any official list. His appearance was meant to be a symbolic show of unity, strength, and gratitude. Dressed in his trademark olive-green military shirt and black slacks, Zelenskyy entered flanked by his security team but walked alone toward the dais where Queen Mary and King Frederik stood. In a moment captured by every lens in the room, Queen Mary reached forward first to shake his hand, placing her free hand gently over his in a sign of solidarity that needed no translation. Zelenskyy's speech, though brief, was piercing. Denmark has not just supported Ukraine with words, but with action, humanitarian aid, military support, and now, the symbolic leadership of Europe through the EU presidency. This is no longer a small northern country. This is the heartbeat of Europe's values. Queen Mary was visibly moved. She blinked away emotion as Zelenskyy mentioned the names of Ukrainian children who had received medical aid in Denmark. King Frederik nodded slowly, his lips pressed into a thin line, absorbing the weight of the president's gratitude. The red dress may have been fabric, but it was also a message. Queen Mary chose a design that was bold without being flamboyant. In the context of European political protocol, such sartorial choices carry weight. Red is often seen in emergency diplomacy, post-conflict negotiations, or at landmark state occasions. It communicates alertness, preparedness, and vigor. Fashion experts noted that Mary's gown bore resemblance to the style worn by Queen Letizia of Spain during Spain's presidency launch in 2023, another modern royal who blends diplomacy with silent strength. However, Mary's version carried a uniquely Danish signature. It was sustainable. The fabric was sourced from recycled textiles, and her shoes, nude pumps, were repurposed from a previous gala. Critics applauded the Queen for highlighting environmental consciousness during an event heavy with discussions on green transitions and sustainable policy. It was fashion with a message, a vision woven in silk, sequins, and strategy. The world responded instantly. International media outlets from Paris to Washington featured the Aarhus reception on their front pages, praising the visual impact of the Danish royals and the emotional gravity of Zelenskyy's visit. The French daily Le Monde described the evening as Europe's quiet renaissance, spearheaded by the gentle but firm hand of Queen Mary. Germany's Die Zeit called it the most elegantly political evening of the EU calendar. Memes comparing Mary's dress to armor, capes, or fire symbols went viral, reinforcing how fashion and symbolism can spark engagement even among younger, non-political audiences. Meanwhile, in Denmark, the event was seen as a moment of pride. Editorials praised Mary and Frederik not just for their presence, but for representing Denmark's values: openness, equality, environmental commitment, and resilience in a fractured Europe. What the cameras didn't fully capture were the tender, unguarded moments that unfolded behind the curtains of ceremony. A video clip later surfaced showing Queen Mary comforting a Ukrainian refugee child who had been invited to the event. Kneeling to speak with the child, she offered soft words and a small pendant bearing the Danish flag. The image melted hearts around the world. Another clip showed King Frederik shaking hands with EU environmental leaders, discussing Denmark's plans to push for a European-wide ban on fossil fuel subsidies, a project close to both his and Mary's heart. Though not officially political actors, the Danish royals are known for using their platform to support causes aligned with government policy without overstepping. With Denmark now at the helm of the EU Council, the next 6 months will be pivotal. From trade reform to climate cooperation and migration stability, the challenges are immense. But if the Aarhus event was any indication, Denmark will approach this leadership role with grace, innovation, and a unique royal touch that resonates far beyond borders. Queen Mary and King Frederik have proven that monarchy is not just ceremonial, it can be diplomatic, strategic, and profoundly human. Their presence, choices, and partnership have already set the tone for what could be a transformative chapter in European unity. As Queen Mary waved to the crowd and stepped back into the royal car with Frederik, leaving the glowing lights of Aarhus City Hall behind, a new image of Denmark was cast into the world, an image of leadership in heels, compassion in crimson, and courage in quiet diplomacy. So we ask you, dear viewers, can the modern monarchy redefine leadership in today's Europe? And has Queen Mary become the unexpected face of this new era? Don't forget to like, share, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more royal insights, breaking updates, and behind-the-scenes truths from Europe's most fascinating figures.